All right. um, so I'm gonna in this video just go over real quick the decimated mesh for the effects. Again, just in case there's anything that's helpful for you, that'll be real quick, and then I'll also go over the uh, uh, refraction mesh. So I'll try to keep it brief. We'll see. Okay, so you're gonna want to get Blender if you don't have it. Uh, you will need. I have a an add-on that I made. That's you can find it pinned in the 3D channel. Um, and so I haven't updated it for Blender 4 point whatever. So you'll want to get 3.6 Blender 3.6. And the way once you've downloaded that, the way you add it is you go to Edit, Preferences, install, choose it, and then you also need to, need to enable it. Click that, and then you should be good to go. And that's going to come up later. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to import our FBX that we got from CKCMD. I have it bound to a hotkey, so you'll see me using that for FBX import and export, but it's just in this menu also. Okay, so we'll just grab, oops, I didn't get it yet. I'm just gonna use this battle axe. Okay, and then the first thing you're gonna need to do, because the scale of Skyrim things is tiny, is scale up by 100 with S, the S key. I'm gonna try to remember to explain what hotkeys I'm using. S to scale, and then you can just type in 100 to scale by 100. You'll probably also need to resize your view, which you can do by pressing the grave accent or tilde key, and then press 3, which is view selected. So tilde 3, and it centers on the object. Okay, we don't need most of this stuff, so delete all that. Don't need this. Are there 3 of these? Oh, this is like the blood effects. Don't need that. Don't need that. Okay. So here's our battle axe. Oh yeah, X. Hotkey X to delete. Okay, so to make the decimated mesh, this is really high poly. So what I do, duplicate with Shift D, and you can just right click to, if you do Shift D and then click, it puts it wherever your mouse is. So you do Shift D and then right click, and it just leaves it where it was. Then press Tab to go into edit mode. A lot of these faces, oh, okay, so yeah, edit mode, and then you can go between vertex, edge, and face select mode. You can also use hotkeys 1, 2, or 3. Just click or tap 2, 3. So this is in face select mode. I'm also gonna change this so it's a little easier to see. There's probably a lot of like vertices that are not connected. I don't see any right now, but oftentimes there'll be one where it's just like it'll look like this, where they're not connected, and we don't need that for our decimated mesh. So select all, press M, select all with A, press M to merge by distance. And you can see that merged a lot of vertices. And then we can do, we don't really need any like custom normals or anything. So we can get rid of those, which are in this menu here, geometry data, clear custom normals, and then shade smooth. And that's going to clear out some unnecessary data that would otherwise just be taking up space. Okay, for the actual decimate modifier, we'll use this one. You can turn on wireframe in the overlays, which will let you see it as it's happening. And we can go, let's see. Actually, before I do that, what I'm going to do is select all, and then I'm going to use the shrink fatten tool, which scales each face along its normal, which I think is what you were doing in Alpha Studio already. But so Alt S and just drag up and down. You can also hold, if you hold Shift while you're doing this kind of operation, it'll do it by a smaller increment. And so we'll just do like, actually no, I'm going to do that after. So we bring this down to, let's see, something like, let's see, it's 1,000 triangles. It's still kind of a lot. Let's go with this, I guess. Yeah, that looks pretty close. This little button will toggle whether this modifier is shown. So that's without, that's with. So we'll go ahead and apply that, and then we'll do this. Shrink fatten. Whoops, here we go. And this way you can see, oh, you know what? We don't want to include the handle in the decimate because it's already pretty good. So we'll just go into edit mode, press Alt Z to toggle X-ray mode. We'll just select all the faces and the handle. And we're going to add those to, or actually we're going to invert, Control I to invert, select everything except the handle. And then we're gonna add all of these to a vertex group with assign. So now everything that's selected is in this group. And then we're going to go to our modifier and choose that group. So now that modifier only affects those vertices, as you can see. Okay, that's better. Now we can do this. And I think that's maybe just a little bit too much. And you can play with that. You can choose different settings. Okay, so that's that. So we'll get rid of that. Now we want to do our refraction mesh. So we'll start with a plane. So do Shift A, mesh, plane. We'll go to edit mode, and we'll just try to make it sort of follow. You can use this little gizmo to align your view to be orthographic. So you can press S to scale. If you press S to scale, and then while you're in here, you can press X it'll only affect the x-axis, or y, or z, which doesn't do anything because it's a plane. You can also do scale shift. Well, that won't be very helpful, but you can do scale and then shift z, which will scale along everything except the z-axis, which is sometimes helpful. Okay, so we want to make this plane kind of follow the shape. Okay, right now I'm doing G, which is, I think, a grab. It's just like moving stuff around. G, Y, moves it on the y-axis. I'll scale, let's see. This thing makes it so, I think this is actually the default value. This is like scale with this as the center. If you have it as this is the 3D cursor right here, this little red and white thing. You can do like rotate around that instead of rotating around its center, like this. Okay, so we'll shrink that a little bit. Move these. You can press E to extrude, like this. And then again, you can, as it's still doing that, you can hit Y to affect only a certain axis. Or the y-axis specifically. Scale this. And then you can do Control R, which is a ring cut. And then, so what that'll do is it'll give you some options, and then you can use your mouse scroll wheel to change how many cuts it makes. So we'll do like 4, and then just click. And then again, you've got this. You can left click to do it where it is, where your mouse is, or right click to just go with the default, which is usually what I do. Okay. And then we can scale, maybe not that one, but we'll select these and scale these out. I guess I do want that one. Something like this. Maybe a little bit more here. Something like that. It's also not centered, which is interesting. So we'll just kind of eyeball it. Again, I'm using G to move, and then like X to move it on the Y or the X-axis. All right, and then maybe we'll do one more. Nah, not gonna do that. I'm just gonna make this a little bigger. Okay. Now we're also gonna need a couple cuts this way. So we'll just do like that. That's Control R again. And we're gonna need one down here. Okay. Yeah. All right, and now we need to make it sort of cover this. You can also select, you can do like a regular drag box to select. You can also press C and then scroll up and down to change the size of the circle, and that's a circle select, and then you can just click and drag. Just handy. And we're gonna move these vertices up with G and Z to try to cover this. Alt C to turn on X-ray mode. We're just gonna try to cover this As much as we can. Grab these edges, move them up. A little bit more on this one. I guess this edge can come up a little bit too. Okay. A little bit more here, maybe. Get that little piece. That's all right. Oh, we're also going to want this to be shaded smooth. Okay. So next we need vertex colors. Or actually, what we really need is vertex alpha. But Blender doesn't really have a good way to paint that directly. So what we're going to do is we're going to paint in regular vertex colors and then we'll convert it. So I like to do vertex painting in flat. Actually, I think it goes there. No, it doesn't. I like to do it in flat mode because then it's just flat white, which makes it easier to see. Go to vertex paint mode. And then you can either just paint directly like this, or you can turn on, I've never done this one. It doesn't seem to work. This is a good one because it will allow you to only paint vertices that you've selected. Like that, which is very handy. Okay, so when I was looking at vanilla Skyrim models, they never had, so for vertex alpha, white is fully opaque, yeah, and black is fully transparent. And I didn't see in refraction meshes in Skyrim, for the bound weapons at least, it never went above 0.5. So we'll use that as our maximum. And you can also do, so I have this on. You can also do paint set, and that'll just set everything that you've selected to your primary color. And then we'll go from there and paint. So again, we'll just paint, just select these edges. We want all the edges to be fully transparent. We'll come back to that. Let's see. But we don't want, this is kind of a harsh transition. So we'll do a little intermediate value of, maybe that's a little low. Maybe, nah, it's still too low. 0.3. And just paint in to kind of smooth that gradient a little bit. So because these are triangles and these three vertices have the same vertex color, this whole triangle is black. That's actually fine in this case. The way you would avoid that is by, let's see here. How can I show this? attribute by using cut with K and manually triangulating that the other way. But we actually want that because it's a little bit of a rounder shape. So actually what we can do is cut it this way because, and get rid of these because they're going to be totally transparent. And then maybe we'll just move this a little bit farther up. Okay. And then, yeah, there's a little bit of funny artifacting here. That'll probably go away when we triangulate. I feel like when I did the other one, longest diagonal seemed to look the best. Usually it's shortest diagonal that's better, but in this case, this one seems to work better. Okay, so now we just have this in, we can do the same thing here. We just have this in, vertex colors, and I can show you, you can add more like view panes by clicking and dragging on these corners. If you look at the spreadsheet and you go to face corner attribute, this is the color attribute or the vertex colors. So you can see we've got, these are RGB A. So you can see in our alpha column, it's just all white. Even though by default in vertex paint mode, it has, where is it? Affect alpha is on. It does not affect alpha. I don't know what the problem is. But anyway, so this is where that add-on that I made comes in. What you can do is you go to object mode and press Control Alt V for copy vertex colors. And so you can copy from the red channel. Oh, you'll also notice from the red channel to the alpha channel. You'll also notice that, yeah, there's some rounding errors, but also these RGB values are not exactly what we entered because they're sRGB encoded. So they're like gamma transformed already. Okay, so now it's in our alpha channel. We can leave it the way it is for the RGB up values. It doesn't matter. We don't need this for now, but what selected to active does is it lets you copy from one object to another. So you can do like, you can have one here. If you have like actual vertex colors that you want to keep, you can paint your vertex alphas and then do selected. So this is selected and this is active. With the bright orange is active, dark orange is selected. And then you can do selected to active and copy from, let's say, the red channel of this to the alpha channel of this. But we don't need that right now. Okay, so let me just make sure I didn't undo that. Oh, I did. There we go. Okay. Okay, so now we got it on our alpha channel. We also need to do the other side. Whoops. The other side. So what you can do is go in edit mode, select all. it's going to look a little funny like this when you have a triangulate modifier on, but that's okay. Shift D to duplicate, and then right click to just let it drop, and then scale with S, type in -1 and Z, or Z and -1, either way. That's going to flip it on the Z axis. And then you can just kind of G to move, and then just move it. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, and then the other thing is, when you scale by a negative number, uh, it flips the position of the vertices, but it doesn't flip the way the faces are facing. So if you turn on face orientation, blue is the front, red is the back. These faces are all backwards, so we have to flip them. So you do Alt N, flip, easy. Okay. We can apply this, and I think that should be it. So then you can just export your FBX, and I guess we can just export all of them. Run it through CKCMD, and then you've got all that stuff. And some of it comes through with it already set up. Like you can see it's already got the vertex, or I don't know why it's showing up with vertex alpha without the shader flags, but you'll have to set these up on your own, but that's pretty easy. Oh, I did the wrong one, but there it is. You can see it's already there. Oh, okay, one more thing. We need to do the UVs. So you can go to the UV editor. Press U with your cursor over on this side. Blender has different hotkeys depending on which panel your cursor is hovering over. So with your cursor on the 3D viewport, press U, or in edit mode, press U with everything selected also. Make sure everything's selected. Unwrap. And then it's going to depend on which way the UV animation is going. I happen to know it goes kind of from bottom to top and a little bit to the left. So we want them to be pretty much like that. They don't have to be exactly the same. In fact, we probably want them a little bit different. And then they probably also need to be a little larger. So we'll re-export. And I guess actually what I should do to check is I'll just paste it into the bound Warhammer diff. Yeah. And as you can see, works great. Yeah, I think that should do it.